Imagine a world where nightfall brings not peace but predators. For Tanjirou, a kind-hearted coal seller and his family's sole provider, this terrifying truth was only a rumor, until one fateful delay trapped him after dark and a warning saved his life. Demons stalk the night, hunting humans, but the real horror awaited him at home. The next day, the metallic scent of blood led him to a scene of unimaginable carnage, his entire family slaughtered. His only solace was finding his sister, Nezuko, still warm with life. Desperate to save her, he fled, only for a nightmare to unfold as she awoke, changed. Now, with fangs and fury, the sister he cherished attacks him, transformed into a demon. As Tanjiro reels from this shock, a demon hunter appears, blade drawn, ready to strike Nezuko down. With his world in ashes and his last surviving family member turned monster, Tanjiro must find the strength not to grieve but to fight. He throws himself between the hunter and his sister, pleading for her life. The hunter's response is a harsh roar. "Stop begging. If you want to protect her, then man up and fight." In an instant, Tanjiro's journey of gentle commerce ends, and his brutal saga as a demon slayer begins. He wants Tanjiro to put the anger in the right place and wants him to be courageous. Tomoka also feels regret for not reaching on time to save his family, but knows he can't turn back time. Tanjiro runs towards him from a side and throws a rock at him as a distraction while trying to attack with his axe. Tomioa knocks him out, but the axe suddenly falls towards him. He defends himself but is amazed that Tanjiro threw the axe right after the rock and pretended to attack knowing he couldn't defeat him normally. Suddenly, Enzo gets out of his grasp and pushes him standing in front of Tanjiro and defending him. She attacks Tomoka, but he knocks her out. Knowing this demon fought back her starvation after transforming into a demon and protected her brother. He controls her for the time being and tells Tanjiro to take her to Urudaki Sakanji, an old man on the foot of Mount Sajiri, by his reference. Tomioa leaves after warning him to not expose her to the sun. Can we all just take a moment and notice how he ain't even look back at his family or even think about going back? He just continued like, "This is an ordinary thing." Tanjiro is a funny guy to forces the elders to take money in exchange for some bamboo sticks. Poor old lady gets her hand strained by the pressure he puts on it. He gets worried upon seeing Nizo in a hole inside a cave to avoid sunlight. Enzo seems to have lost most of her senses, since the slow brother has to explain in dumbed-down words and expressions to make her understand things. He decides to make a basket for her to shrink into so she can avoid sunlight, and he can continue through his life. The whole day he keeps traveling like he's carrying some heavy luggage, and at night the two of them travel alongside each other. Reaching near, they find a temple and decide to check it out, but the scent of blood worries him. The two look inside and find a demon eating the humans he killed. Poor Nizo still in shock, remembering the trauma she witnessed recently. The demon finds their vibe odd and attacks Tanjiro, but he uses his axe to defend himself. The demon is adamant about killing him and attacks him once again. Tanjiro tries to defend himself to save Nizo, but Nizo is already out of her state of shock and ready to defend her brother. She cuts his head off in one go, but to their dismay, the body is still acting the same. She throws the body off too, but the head starts talking about knowing they had something off and showing its surprise about a demon and human being together. Poor Tanjiro is still baffled at this scenario, while Nizo has already left to fight the body. Meanwhile, the head attacks Tanjiro. Maybe not cutting the body into two would have been better since they now have two demons to fight against. The demon starts growing arms out of its head, but Tanjiro throws it to a tree and traps it with his axe. The rest of the body is thrown off a cliff and dies, knocking the head off. The two of them come back, and Tanjiro wonders about slaughtering the demon when a guy in a Tang mask tells him he needs another way. Tanjiro wants to smash it with a rock, but is too slow, and the demon burns off as the sun rises. The masked man is Urukodaki, and he slaps Tanjiro for being too kind, sympathetic, and indecisive. He may be the first guy to get scoldings for being nice. He warns Tanjiro to make sure Nizo doesn't kill a human, or it'll all be over, and agrees to make him his student if he passes a test. Poor guy walks up a whole distance hoping that is the test, but it is only a way to his house. Ukodaki takes him into the mountainous forest and leaves him to find the way back home. Tanjiro has memorized Urukodaki's scent, but it turns out that there are many human traps around. Tanjiro figures out the smell of the human traps and tries to avoid them, but he isn't athletic enough to dodge them all. However, with his determination, he reaches back home eventually. Urukodaki recalls the letter he got in which Tomoka praised the two for having a special vibe and told him about Tanjiro's strong sense of smell, like Urudaki. He hopes that Tanjiro might become a demon slayer and might even become a successor to Urukodaki. Urukodaki accepts Tanjiro as his student. Demon slayers have an organization unrecognized by the government, but since the demons are strong, heal their wounds in no time, and can only be killed by sunlight or a special type of sword, they heavily outnumber the demon slayers. Tanjiro starts getting teachings from Urodaki. He is told that after all the teachings, he will have to go through a final selection at Mount Fuja to see if he can join the demon slayers or not. He has improved his sense of smell and can dodge human traps better than before. Now he is given a sword and has to practice swinging it about 1,000 times or more every day. Poor guy not only has to go through such strenuous training, but is also threatened by Urokodaki about breaking the sword or constantly slapping or punched when he doesn't do things right. And it doesn't help that Uroaki seems to be more of a bully than a mentor. From practicing his dodges, stances, getting back from falls, sword angles, breathing techniques, and much more, Tanjiro is constantly bullied. Yet, he keeps putting on more effort every day. All he has is Nizo's name to keep him determined when he is punched or thrown into the water to train. A girl, Makomo, is left behind by Sabito to help Tanjiro train. Tanjiro only got to know that the two orphans were also trained by Urokodaki and had huge respect for him. In the next year, he faced Sabedito multiple times throughout the year, while constantly being taught about his shortcomings by Makomao. It is only after a year that he faces Sabedito in a victorious face-off. It only takes one strike, and Toniro's sword strikes Sabedito before his attack. Sabito's mask breaks, and he has a relieved and proud smile. The same is for Meiko, after which the two of them disappear. But what's more surprising is that Tanjiro was sure he struck the mask, but currently he stands in front of the boulder cut in half. Urudaki is impressed by Tanjiro, but shares how he didn't want Tanjiro to go because he didn't want any more dead children. Tanjiro breaks down upon the praise of a 2-year effort. Urokodaki serves him with good food and gives him a talisman mask to protect him, a cat-faced mask. He wishes Tanjiro a safe journey while Tanjiro promises a sleeping Enzo that he will be back for her. Before leaving, he tells Urodaki to give his greetings to Sabito and Makomao. Uraodaki is bewildered about how Tanjiro knows the names of those dead. Yep, he was helped by the spirits of Urokodaki's students. Reaching the mountain, Tanjiro is surprised to see so many people appearing in the test. Two twin girls who sound very creepy with their expressions and their sinking when speaking tell them that the forest ahead has demons who were caught by previous demon slayers. Those demons are trapped to not leave because of the blossoming trees, something those demons fear against their lives. All the applicants have to survive in the forest filled with demons for 7 days, and if they manage to come out alive, they will be accepted as demon slayers. Tanjiro enters the forest and knows that he needs to survive through the night since the demons won't come out after sunrise. He decides to rush towards the east, the first place where the sunlight falls, but stops midway when he smells a weird scent. He knows it's a demon, but cannot decipher where the scent is coming from. Good for him. He manages to pinpoint the scent being above him right before he is attacked. The demon is offended when Tanjiro dodges his attacks twice, but gets into banter with another demon who attacks Tanjiro. Tanjiro stands there looking at the two demons fighting about whose food he is. Our guy neither made use of their distraction nor ran away. He stood there and waited for them to attack him. However, using his total concentration, breathing, and all the training, he manages to behead 2 demons in one attack. Thanks to the special sword Nichiren Blade given by Urokodaki, he could kill those demons. However, a huge demon appears there while following another guy. Sabito and Meiko are seen talking about the chances of Taniro's survival, but even they are unsure. Taniro's legs are shaking, but he decides to save that guy and face that demon. The demon recognizes Tanjiro as Urokodaki's student by his mask and narrates how Urokodaki trapped him in the forest 40+ years ago. So, he killed every student of Urokodaki. At the mention of brutally murdering Sabito and Makomao, Tanjiro gets mad and attacks him. The demon throws him off and walks towards him, ready to kill him. Tanjiro wakes up in time and starts dodging the attacks closely. The demon's neck is surrounded by its multiple arms, which Tanjiro strategically makes him stretch. However, it is still confident that the blade won't get past his stiff neck. Well, too bad for the demon for underestimating our determined Tanjiro. With his special attack, Tanjiro slashes the gigantic monster's head off of its body. As Tanjiro reaches near his face, he gets a flashback of when Urokodaki captured him and can even see Urodaki's reflection in Tanjiro for a swift moment. Right after that, the demon has his head cut off from his body. As his body vanishes, he gets a weird memory of calling out to some brother, a memory probably from his human life. Tanjiro can feel the sadness and holds its hand, praying it's reborn as a human. Tanjiro then fights through all the demons he encounters and asks them about ways to go back to human form. But the demons are focused on hunting him down. Tanjiro eventually survives with 2 guys and a girl and is selected as a demon slayer. One of the guys misbehaves about wanting his color-changing sword right away, even though he is told that the sword will take 15 days to make afters. They choose an ore. Tanjiro threatens the guy to calm down and then chooses his or using his sense of smell. Poor guy trudges towards Urokodaki's house to get back to Nizo in a uniform that is too heavy for him. When he reaches back, he sees Nizo coming out of the house, which makes him rush towards her. He falls due to the weight, but Nizo also comes and hugs him as he cries about her not waking up for so long. Urokodaki also hugs the two, relieved that Tanjiro came back alive. Later, Tanjiro is told about demons, and a special type of them called the spellcasting demons. He also gets to know that Enzo is conserving her energy by sleeping a lot in exchange for not eating humans. After 2 weeks, a man, Hagenzuka, visits Tanjiro with his sword. He starts explaining the Nikki blade and its absorption of sunlight, ignoring Taniro's polite invitations to come in and have some tea. The poor guy gets scared of the hideous mask when Hagen Zuka finally faces him. Hagen Zuka then starts ranting about Taniro's red eyes and hair, expecting the sword to change its color to red because his family business was affiliated with fire. Hagen Zuka finally sits inside, awaiting Taniro's sword color, but it changes to black. Music. It is uncommon according to Yurikodaki, while Hagen Zuka starts hitting him in frustration of not seeing a red blade. Great behavior from a guy acting mysterious when he initially came. Taniro's Kasugai Crow, allotted to him for communication, appears there, asking him to rush towards northwestern town as girls are disappearing there every night. He needs to go and get rid of the demon causing all this. Tanjiro gets ready in his uniform when he is briefed by Yurikodaki that the uniform is special to resist fire, wetness, and demons, claws and teeth. The black sword has a unique specialty unknown because it appears for slayers who aren't appreciated enough. Urukodaki also gives him a lightweight box made of wood. It is sturdy enough to carry Nezo, but light enough to not tire Tanjiro. Tanjiro happily asks Nezo to climb in so they will be together from now on. Reaching the village, Tanjiro hears whispers of the people talking about girls disappearing and pointing towards a man walking mindlessly on the streets. Kazumi lost his Sakudo when he was right beside her. Tanjiro approaches Kazumi asking him about the details and then spends the entire day sniffing around for the demon's smell. When the night falls, he knows that the demon will appear somewhere at any moment. As the villagers are scared of girls getting abducted by going out, no one would have expected a girl to get abducted from her room. A dark circle appears on the ground following that girl and then widens up as a demon captures her. Tanjiro senses the smell strongly, so he rushes towards the house. He stands outside and tries to find the point concentrated with the smell. He then stabs his sword into the ground and luckily manages to get his hands on the girl. Kazumi is confused but complies with Tanjiro as he is told to hold the girl and stand at the side. Tanjiro recognizes the demon as the blood spellcaster and uses the fact that its smell doesn't entirely vanish when it disappears to locate its position. However, Tanjiro didn't expect the demon to have made 2 more copies of itself. Tanjiro also recalls Yurikodaki telling him that only the first ever demon could use his blood to convert a human into a demon. Musen Kibitsuji is Taniro's enemy, but he is also the one who might know to revert his sister to human. Tanjiro wants to ask this demon about Musen, but only if he gets the chance. After missing some proper strikes, the demons communicate about wanting to eat the girl faster because the older she gets from 16, the poorer the taste of flesh. Poor Kazumi is even more traumatized when he gets to know that Sakudo has already been devoured. As the fight continues, Tanjiro ends up close to the wall, making him vulnerable to the attacks of the demons. A hand appears from behind, but luckily Tanjiro has Nezo to have his back. No pun intended. The demon is confused at the partnership of a swordsman and a demon, while Enzo looks at Kazumi and the girl finding them similar to her late siblings. Tanjiro recalls Urudaki telling him that he used Enzo's sleeping to hint at her that all humans are her family and need to be protected against the demons, her enemies. So now she thinks demons should not be forgiven for harming humans. Hence, Nezo launches an attack on the demons. Enzo tries to kick the demon, but the sinkhole helps him. The demon then tries to confuse her, but Tanjiro decides to call her back. The demon tries to intervene, but Nezo dodges him effortlessly, making Tanjiro wonder if Nezo has got the strength to fight and the willpower to be trusted to protect the 2 other humans. He tries to talk to her, but this notorious demon keeps intervening. He then comes out and the sinkhole opens wider, telling Nezo to protect them. Tanjiro jumps into the hole. It turns out to be a swamp filled with the belongings of the girls those 3 have devoured. The other 2 demons underestimate him, and Tanjiro must be having a hard time breathing and swimming. They are unaware that this guy trained in air thinner than this and has the majority of his techniques mastered in water. As the 2 try to attack him, Tanjiro prepares himself for the attack that will create a tornado around him. Right as he thought, the 2 of them are soon blasted into pieces by his attack. Outside, Enzo is fighting with the last one. The demon is impressed by her strength, so much so that he feels she has consumed a lot of humans. However, her moves and attacks are monotonous, so they start getting predictable for the demon. Just when she is about to get a brutal attack, Tanjiro comes out and fights the demon. Once cornered, he asks the demon about Musen Kibitsuji. However, the demon starts shaking with fear at this mention and starts whimpering about how he cannot tell anything. The demon's memory shows Kibitsuji threatening him to not do so. Not getting any information, Tanjiro finishes off the demon, giving Kazumi his fiance's belongings. Tanjiro takes his leave after putting a sleeping Enzo into the box. Poor guy doesn't even get to apologize internally to Nizo for not getting any information before the crow appears again, asking him to go to Tokyo and hunt the demons there. Tanjiro whines a little, but starts his journey. However, reaching Tokyo leaves him traumatized by all the modernizations and developments in the city. The lights and the crowds make him feel tired and sick as he rushes here and there to find some peace. Meanwhile, poor Nezo is being dragged around with him. Finding a stall in a quieter place, he asks for some mute on noodles while his tired sister takes yet another nap. However, a strong familiar scent makes him rush towards the city and into the crowd, leaving poor Nezo behind. The person he pulls is none other than Musen Kibitsuji, but Tanjiro is left speechless and in pain as he sees him with a wife and daughter, both of which are human. Tanjiro doesn't know how to take this information about the most dangerous demon living a life disguised as a human. Kibitsuji casually grazes the neck of a bypasser, conveniently turning the guy into a demon and getting a good distraction. The attacked guy bites his wife, making Tanjiro intervene and take the guy down by stuffing a cloth in his mouth. Kibitsuji leaves with his family while hearing Tanjiro screams that he will find Kibitsuji even if he hides in hell. Currently, Tanjiro tries to control the guy rather than kill him right away, but the police in the crowd think he is some drunkard and try to get him off the now demon guy. Suddenly, a skin is grazed, leaving a bewitching scent. This creates an illusion for the public, making Tanjiro and the guy disappear from their sight while still being right there. Tanjiro recognizes the girl as a demon, but she shares that she is a doctor and wants to obliterate Kibitsuji, so she lends him a hand to help the wounded couple. Kibitsuji sends his family home and walks into an alley. A drunk guy misbehaves with him, but the moment he mentions Kibitsuji's pale skin, as if he is dying, Kibitsuji gets mad and slams the guy in the wall. He then kills the guy's brother too, followed by the former guy's wife. Poor wife had her cells burst because of Kibitsuji keeping his blood mingled with hers. He then talks to two other demons, telling them to bring the head of the guy with Hanafuda earrings. He is talking about Tanjiro, but gets a flashback of an older guy with similar features and earrings. Currently, the said guy is getting an earful from the udon seller, who is mad not because Tanjiro didn't pay, but because Tanjiro disrespected the udon. Wanting to compensate, Tanjiro hurriedly eats 2 bowls of udon and leaves after taking Nizo. The guy with the doctor's demon awaits them, but his nasty remark about Nizo being ugly makes Tanjiro frustrated towards him. He keeps praising his sister throughout their way. The house is located and hiding behind a dead end. The doctor, Tamo, introduces herself and Yashiru, the Enzo insulter. The 4 of them get to talking. 3 actually, because Nizo is just lying on the floor, rolling and sliding. She was also transformed by Kibitsuji, but they work to reach a situation where only a small amount of human blood is enough for them to strive. The blood that they buy from humans who need money. She is also the only person who managed to transform another human into a demon, Yashiru. She offers this to the humans with fatal illnesses. Tanjiro can smell her purity and lack of deception. Meanwhile, the Kibitsuji's 2 demons are tracking Taniro's footsteps. In a banterful conversation, banter with Yashiru in conversation with Tamo, Tanjiro gets to know that Tamo is working on transforming demons back into humans. She also requests for him to give her his sister's blood, as well as retrieve as many blood samples from demons made by Kibitsuji as possible. She also mentions Nizo's rare condition since no other demon has ever not gone berserk after 2 straight years of lack of human flesh or blood consumption. Tanjiro agrees, knowing there is no other solution yet. Yashiru is attacking Tanjiro again for impressing his ideal Tamo, when the 2 notorious demons attack their house. The Tori demon, Suzumaru, and the Arrow demon, Yahaba, attack the 4 inside the house. They narrow down Tanjiro as their target and only attack the others that come in the way. For example, Yashiru tries to act out, resulting in getting his face blown by a Timmy. It would have been scary, but thankfully Yashiru is a demon and can regenerate. Tanjiro sends Nizo to help the injured woman to the basement and figures they are behind him, so he asks the 2 nice demons to step aside too. Tanjiro tries to dodge the Tori and fight it back, but it starts swiving in different directions. The Timmy hits him even after he slices it in 2. Suzumaru announces herself being a part of the 12 Big Moons after extending out all 6 of her arms to attack Tanjiro. The 12 Big Moons are the direct subordinates of Kibitsuji. Yashiru gives him his sight so that Tanjiro can see the arrows in which the Tori are going to move. He tries to dodge them and then comes out after telling Nizo to deal with the Arrow demon. While Tanjiro attacks Suzumaru, he manages to cut all her arms off with it. After ensuring her blood will be helpful to Tamo, he decides to move ahead, but Suzumaru is neither ready to lose, nor is she willing to let them have any of their blood. On the other hand, Unzo attacks Yaba to stop him from directing the Tamaris, but it isn't long till Nizo is slammed into the ground. Yashiru tells Tamo They should run as the two fight, but the shock on her face makes him exclaim he is only kidding, telling Tanjiro to deal with Yahava. He decides the three of them will handle Suzumaru. Enzo sees a reflection of her family and the two of them making her get back on her feet right away. Tanjiro finds the thread to the neck, but it is broken by one of the arrows that makes him slip on his aim. Tanjiro is then slammed here and there with Yahaba's arrows till he is left to fall. As Tanjiro saves himself, Enzo and Yashiru attack Suzumaru. Tamo's name makes the two evils recall she is the fugitive. They decide to take two heads to Kibitsuji. Ow. Nezo tries to kick the Tori, which is a bad move, and gets her lower leg cut. She is then thrown into the house where Tamo rushes to aid her. She helps Nizo heal faster, making Nizo see her mother's reflection in him. Tanjiro takes some time to see how he can deal with the arrows. They are very fast and do not vanish till they hit him. Moreover, touching them ends up having him get hit. After several hits, Tanjiro decides to take Yahaba down since he cannot take any more impacts. Moving in a swift, confusing motion, he starts approaching Yahaba. Yahaba tries to stop him, but no matter how heavy the sword gets, Tanjiro isn't willing to stop. In a very tough motion, he uses his horizontal water he attack along with Yaba's arrows and cuts through his neck. Yaba whines angrily as his head falls away from his body. He cries about wanting Kibitsuji's approval with his head, but not being able to get it. As his body starts vanishing, he decides to launch arrows at Tanjiro with all his remaining might. Poor Tanjiro is slammed here and there in microseconds while he tries to contain the impact using his water forms. However, by the time the body disappears, Tanjiro has a leg and a rib broken and cannot bring his body to stand up. Still wanting to protect Nizo, he starts crawling on the floor with his sword in his mouth towards where the others are. On the other end, Yashiru's invisibility is still not enough to have him act smarter against Suzaru, but the same goes for the speed of her Tamaris for the guy. Enzo comes out with her leg healed and decides to play a game of kickball with Suzumaru. Yashiru is surprised to know that all of this is Nizo's strength and not some serum from Tamo, and that too, without any human consumption. Getting frustrated, Suzumaru also starts kicking the Tori back, creating an intense face-off, more like a leg-off between the two as the ball goes back and forth. Eventually, Nizo hits the ball hard enough for Suzumaru to barely dodge her head. Tamo decides to intervene, knowing Nizo's energy will drain soon. She confronts Suzumaru about Kubitsuji being a coward who doesn't even let the demons socialize because he fears they will gather against him. Using her blood arts, Tamo triggers her enough to utter Kubitsuji's name and trigger the curse that will kill her. Suzumaru shouts while begging to be given a chance, but soon her own body destroys itself quite mercilessly. It turns out that Kubitsuji's cells remain in his demon's body, having the control to kill them whenever other than the Nickern blade and sunlight. Taking the blood samples, everyone leaves except Tanjiro, who spends a moment till the body completely vanishes. However, Tamio also notices that the two demons were not a part of the 12 blood moons, but were lied to about it. He then thanks the two for helping the siblings. Enzo hugs Tamo, making her emotional since she used her remaining senses to decipher that these demons were not her enemies. Tamo offers to take Nezo in, but Nezo wants to accompany Tanjiro wherever he goes. Oh, and Yashiru finally accepts that Nezo is beautiful before they leave. The crow then forces poor, tired Tanjiro to go southeast now, but a commotion on the road stops him. Tanjiro is troubled by his crow when he witnesses a yellow-haired guy, Zenitsu, who is one of the survivors of the final selection as a demon slayer. Zenitsu is currently on his knees, begging a girl to marry him since he is going to die soon. A sparrow lands on Tanjiro's hands and speaks in her language, but Tanjiro understands it and proceeds to deal with Zenitsu. He starts insulting Zenitsu, calling him unstable, and refusing to recognize him at Zenitsu's mention. Even after recalling this, Tanjiro ignores him and apologizes to the girl. Zenitsu, still being persistent, gets him a good beating from the poor girl who only called him out when he was lying lifeless on the side of the road. After she leaves, Zenitsu starts crying, ranting, rolling on the floor and whatnot. You can say it was all noise and chaos, and the crux of it was that he was scared of the demons and didn't expect to become a demon slayer. He expected to die in the final selection. And there is something about getting in debt for some woman. The guy dies, but it's not the kid's brother. So the two of them decide to go inside. Well, Tanjiro does. Zenitsu only follows because of the disappointed look Tanjiro gave him. Inside, Zenitsu starts panicking yet again upon hearing Tanjiro is injured. Tanjiro had left the kids with Enzo's box, but they came inside the house scared of the scratching inside the box. Before anything, the drumming increased and Zenitsu's gymnastic crying pushed Tanjiro and the little sister Tuko inside a room that switched to a different one with every drumming. Zenitsu is still crying with a kid heavily disappointed in him. They do not find a way out while Tanjiro and Tuko come across a monster who is ranting on his own about losing a rare blood human. Tanjiro tries to attack it, but another dream beat rotates the room. Tanjiro senses another scent, not of a demon. A guy in a boar's mask and holding sunbee blades appears in the room, excited to kill the demon. The room keeps rotating with the drum beats, while the boarman is unhinged enough to solely focus on attacking the demon, not even bothering to see he is stepping on a little girl. Tanjiro gets him to back up, which makes Boorman confront Tanjiro. This confuses Tanjiro, who assumed he was also a demon slayer. The two couldn't fight because this time, the demon's beat caused a claw mark to appear on the floor, indicating it was an attack they barely dodged. Before anything else, another beat switches the room, saving Tanjiro and Tuko. Tanjiro wondered where this sound was from because the demon didn't strike the drum at that time. Following more sense, Tanjiro ends up reaching where Taruko's brother Koshi is. Zenitsu's anxiety makes the poor little boy nervous too, and the conversation between them causes a demon to appear in front of them. The two of them start running frantically as the lizard-like demon tries to attack them with its sharp tongue. Shuichi refuses to leave Zenitsu behind, which makes him emotional. But when the demon appears near, Zenitsu passes out of fear. Poor Shuichi tries to drag him away, but the tongue approaches them fast after they are cornered. However, the tongue is cut off swiftly. This is followed by Zenitsu waking up, running towards the demon and cutting its head off in a single attack. That's what I'm talking about. It's like he was in a trance because he gets a little jolt as if snapping back to reality, and he starts crying while assuming Shuichi saved him. Music. The boarman is also running around towards the drum demon while slashing any other demon coming in the way. The drum demon is looking for rare blood humans because he was struck off by the 12 big moons for not being strong enough, and consuming a rare blood human is like consuming 50 normal humans, resulting in a great increase in the demon's strength. Kiyoshi was saved because the three demons started fighting about whose food he would become. The commotion had one of the drums falling and striking. It helped him avoid the demons coming into the room. Tanjiro advertises Yurukodaki's ointment and then tells them to strike the drum if they feel any demon nearing the room's door. In the meantime, he will defeat the demon and call them. The drum demon appears there, and Tanjiro tries to cope with the movements by noticing which drum causes what actions. However, his injuries make it hard for him to near the demon, making him wonder about all the worst scenarios that could occur. However, remembering he knows many water forms, he decides to win against the demon at any cost. Zenitsu and Shuichi are wandering around in circles till Shuichi makes him look inside a room. As they enter the room, it flips, and they start falling through the doors until they see daylight. Tanjiro tells the demon that he won't give up and let him have the kid. This gets the demon worked up, making him beat the drums so fast that Tanjiro starts getting dizzy and papers start falling through the room. The demon gets a memory of someone looking down on his writings, stepping on them, calling him a bore, and leaving him after mocking him to keep playing his drums. That is when the demon killed that guy. However, Tanjiro is currently very impressed by this blood art. As he tries to dodge stepping on the papers, Tanjiro ends up finding a way in which he can move without straining his injuries. He starts following his course of action, surprising the demon that Tanjiro can orient himself according to the rotations. Tanjiro finally sees an open thread to the neck and follows it, telling the demon that his blood art is incredible before beheading him. The demon was left shocked at this statement, and even after being beheaded, he had to confirm if his skill impressed Tanjiro. It was as if he had finally gotten a closure that his art wasn't useless, making him vanish with tears of satisfaction. Leave it to Tanjiro to even give the demons a peaceful and fulfilling death. Tanjiro takes the demon's blood sample and hands it over to Yashiru's disappearing cap. Tanjiro gets back to the siblings he left only to get smacked by random stuff because their drum disappeared. He helps them get out and is shocked to see Zenitsu brutally injured while covering for Nezo's box as the boarman violently beats him up and insults him. Why? Because Tanjiro had said that the box was more important to him than his life. When Zenitsu fell out, he fell on his head, getting knocked out. As a person who can hear sounds very clearly even when sleeping, he could tell even in his subconscious that the demon had been defeated. The drums had stopped and footsteps were approaching them. Poor Shui helps Zenitsu up, worrying about his injury. When the boarman comes out, Zenitsu recognizes his voice to be the same as the impatient guy who survived the final selection before the rest of the four. Boarman tries to near the box, but Zenitsu stops him. He mentions demon, and Zenitsu should know it as a demon slayer. But surprise, surprise, he did know it all along. Demons and humans have different sounds, and he could tell right away that there was a demon inside the box. But the kind and peaceful sound coming out of Tanjiro is something that can make him tear up. This is why he trusted Tanjiro, and had been waiting to ask him the reason directly, knowing it'll be a fair one. So Zenitsu forgot all his fears and pains and hugged the box, getting beaten up by the boarman till Tanjiro came back. Seeing all the blood and Zenitsu lying down, Tanjiro got a flashback of his dead family, making him attack Boarman. Tanjiro attacks the Boarman. While telling him he isn't allowed to take the sword out on another demon slayer, Tanjiro breaks his ribs, violating the law himself. The kids and Zenitsu, who is a greater kid, watch the two of them fight violently with each other while shouting at each other about what they consider is right. The Boarman has a brick-like brain because he decided to fight without a sword. After all, they aren't allowed to take them out. Tired of fighting with him and trying to get some sense in his head, Tanjiro eventually headbutts him pretty hard. So hard that his mask falls off. The reason for the mask becomes pretty obvious because this well-built man has a pretty face like that of a girl. The barman's name is Hashibiri Inosuke. Inosuke is still babbling nonsense when suddenly he passes out with blood on his forehead and foam foam coming out his mouth. The four in the audience are shocked at how hard Taniro's head is to cause a guy concussion but be unfazed himself. When Inosuke wakes up, he finds others burying the dead bodies of the slaughtered. Inosuke calls it useless, to which Tanjiro smiles and replies that he might be too hurt and shouldn't stress himself for his low pain threshold. The rest of the people are bewildered at Tanjiro's confidence in replying with something entirely unrelated to what was said. Inosuke gets worked up and starts burying bodies to prove his strength. All of them are then ordered to descend the mountain. Inosuke follows because he wants to fight Tanjiro. Tanjiro has to knock out Zenitsu as well. He kept begging Shuichi to tag along because he still thinks Shuichi saved him. Kiyoshi is given a wisteria flower, which is a demon repellent. Inosuke keeps trying to get Tanjiro to fight with him. When Kamado Tanjiro tells his name, Inosuke calls it Kamaboko Gonpichiro, something entirely different, and starts threatening him again. A knocked-up Zenitsu has to wake up and shut them up. The three are taken to a house with a wisteria family crest to rest up and get their injuries healed. An old lady welcomes them, gives them clothes and food, gets them checked up, and then sets up beds for them. Her speed makes Zenitsu call her a monster, while Inosuke constantly tries to annoy Tanjiro, but Tanjiro keeps being kind to him. Inosuke became a demon slayer solely because he likes to prove himself stronger than other humans. He has forgotten about the box entirely, but Zenitsu remembers, so he decides to ask about it. Tanjiro praises his kindness for trusting him, even though he carried a demon along. As the box cracks open, Zenitsu starts shouting and crying yet again, but all of that stops when he sees a cute Nizo coming out of it. However, the shouting starts yet again as he blames Tanjiro for having a cute girl by his side and stopping him from getting the same. He doesn't even give the poor guy a chance to explain that Nizo is his sister. Zenitsu, being a creep, starts following poor Nizo around, followed by following Tanjiro to be friends with him. They run around in circles inside the room, while Inosuke sits outside annoyed. The old lady comes to him talking sweetly to him, which has some effect on him. However, after a moment, Inosuke also enters the room and starts following Tanjiro to attack him. The three guys now run around in circles while Nizo watches them. After they are healed, they are ordered to go to Mount Nadagumo. The three of them travel there after the old lady prays for their wellness. Inosuke is thick-headed enough to not even get simple terms like behaving well, staying strong, and with pride. Tanjiro starts running fast, wanting to avoid his weird questions. As they reach the mountain, Zenitsu sits down as he gets a creepy vibe from the mountain. However, the two guys find him creepier than the mountain with his weird antics. Another demon slayer is found lying injured outside the mountain forest, but before they can talk to him, the guy is pulled inside by some thin threads. Tanjiro falters a little, but decides to go inside, while Inosuke already plans to do the same. Zenitsu is scared, so they don't force him. Inside the forest, Tanjiro expresses his gratitude to Inosuke for tagging along since he feels less scared of the company. Inosuke feels the same kindness that he felt from the old lady before, a feeling that is foreign to him. The two of them find another demon slayer, but the scared guy is shocked that the lowest rank is sent rather than a higher one for help. Inosuke gets offended by that, but the guy explains how 10 demon slayers were sent here, and out of nowhere, they start hunting down each other. As the core are reported, they decide to send some Hashira's higher-ranked slayers. Tomio Kagyu and Shinobu are ordered to go there as they expect some of the blood moons there. Zenitsu sits outside sad that they didn't try to convince him to tag along. His sparrow tells him not to sulk and go inside, but Zenitsu doesn't understand her and tells her she doesn't understand human feelings. The sparrow bites him and they start fighting. In the middle of his blabbering, he realizes Tanjiro took Nezo with him, so he starts running inside wanting to save her. The boy has some defined priorities. Inside the forest, the three guys are attacked by the controlled demon slayers. Tanjiro feels a weird odor and then feels some threads sticking to his arm. There are tiny spiders that he throws off and realizes that the demon slayers are being controlled. They start cutting the threads and avoiding spiders sticking to them. Tanjiro knows that the only solution is to find the demon controlling everyone. Since his smell is blocked, he asks Inosuke to find the demon, while he and Murata, the other slayer, deal with the puppet guys. A young demon stands on a thin thread at a good height and has come to warn them not to disturb their family or his mother will kill them. After he leaves, Inosuke finds the demon controlling the people. However, the child also prepares to fight, not wanting his family of 5 to be disturbed in any way. After finding the source of the threads, Murata tells them to leave the core to him and go get the demon. The two of them start running when they come across more controlled demon slayers. The threads have gotten thicker near the demon, and the moves are stronger. But Inosuke and Tanjiro aren't the ones who get scared easily. The demon is called out by her son Rui, who threatens her to win against the demon slayers, or he will tell his father. The mother demon gets scared and starts acting more rashly while trying to defeat them. The demon slayers are still alive, but their bones are broken because of the demon's wild control. Tanjiro finds a way to keep them alive, yet restrain their movements by making them move around and then having them hang on the trees. Zenitsu is crying for Nezo, Tanjiro, Inosuke, and even his sparrow, Chintu. Chintu comes to him, relieving him as they go to find Nezo. What Mr. Keen Tanjiro didn't expect was that the demon would twist their necks once they were of no use to her. This gets Tanjiro even more, which Inosuke can feel strongly. The two rush towards the demon, but get another puppet opponent midway. Inosuke decides to chop its head off, but too bad this one doesn't have a head to chop. For the first time, Inosuke panics, thinking about what should they do, but Tanjiro calms him that they can slash his body diagonally close to its neck so this headless demon can be defeated. Inosuke rushes forward, but gets trapped by the threads. Tanjiro steps forward to save him in time, making him giddy for Tanjiro. This gets even better when Tiro requests him to work as a team. He then guides Inosuke to step forward and attack by providing his back as a support for Inosuke to jump. This helps Inosuke get rid of the demon. Inosuke feels giddy for Tanjiro, but also wants to prove he can do the same, so he picks Tanjiro up and throws him in the air. Tanjiro is a little confused till he gets the sight of the mother demon. He prepares for the attack while the mother demon panics about losing because of Rui's threat. However, she realizes death will free her from her misery, so she opens her arms to embrace it. Seeing this, Tanjiro softens his blow, giving her a peaceful death. Before completely disappearing, she reminisces about her life with her abusive demon husband. Seeing Taniro's kind eyes, she warns him to be careful as the mountain holds one of the blood moons. Inosuke asks Tanjiro if he killed the demon, but Tanjiro is more worried about Inosuke's wounds right now. Inosuke keeps trying to act tough, but Tanjiro can see right through him and tries to treat his wounds as much as he can. Zenitsu is walking around trying to find his companions and is annoyed that his skin gets grazed when he sees a spider with a human head. Zenitsu starts crying and running frantically, but sadly, his running makes him reach a house in the air with webs. Those webs have humans hanging on them as they turn into spiders. A demon with a spider body comes out of the house laughing at Zenitsu. Zenitsu is about to run away when the demon tells him that he was bit by one of his kind, and now he will also turn into a spider after half an hour. He starts torturing Zenitsu by narrating what will happen to him as time passes. Zenitsu starts crying and climbs up a tree, as if seeking a hideout from reality. The demon laughs at him and looks down upon him. Zenitsu recalls his past when he was sitting like that on a tree while trying to save himself from his gramps' tough training. His grandpa had saved him from the debt and started training him to be a demon slayer because he was one of the highest ranks too. Zenitsu couldn't take up the training, but his hideout caused him to get struck by thunder. This is when his hair changed from black to golden. While panicking, Zenitsu once again passes out, meaning the real slayer inside him is about to come out. Zenitsu falls off the tree and attacks the demon, but his venom spit makes him back up. He then starts repeating the same attack, showing the demon that he only knows one move. Another glimpse of his past is when his grandpa told him it is fine if he only knows one move, and what matters is that he masters that move perfectly. Zenitsu had felt useless for being a coward all his life and knew that it was only his grandfather who supported him no matter what. He always wanted to be strong and help others. Poor guy doesn't even know that he is strong. As the little spiders attack him, the demon thinks it's over for Zenitsu, but it isn't. Zenitsu soon jumps out of the herd of spiders and attacks the demon, beheading him conveniently. The demon cannot even believe this. Zenitsu falls on top of the house and tries to keep the venom from spreading fast by breathing the way his grandpa taught him. On the other hand, Tanjiro and Inosuke are by a river when they see another young demon. The girl backs up and calls her father, who is the Blood Moon demon. The father attacks Inosuke while Tanjiro steps forward to help his ally. Gu and Shinobu have finally reached the mountain and they split up. Tanjiro attacks the demon to save Inosuke, but his sword doesn't slice through the arm. The demon tries to use his other arm, but Inosuke strikes out. Both the swords are unable to cut it and the demon throws them off. The demon attacks Tanjiro, who dodges the attack. Inosuke gets the attention to himself. Knowing his sword won't cut through the demon directly, he uses the demon's distraction to throw a tree at him. As it is trapped, Tanjiro braces himself to launch a strong enough attack to behead it. However, the demon rises before that and throws Tanjiro far off in the forest. Tiro makes sure to tell Inosuke to hold up till he is back. Zenitsu is having a hard time with the venom when Shinobu appears near him. Tanjiro falls in a place where he sees Ryu hurting his sister. Ryu's definition of family is messed up, which makes Tanjiro call it fake. Ryu is offended, but they are disturbed by another slayer who wants to rise in rank. The Slayer's overconfidence gets him broken down into pieces by Ryu's threat attack. Ryu now focuses on Tanjiro, ready to kill him for the offense. Tanjiro isn't going to back out of fear or anything, even though he can feel an intimidating aura from this demon. Then is currently hiding and trying to find a way to attack the demon, but he cannot think of anything. As he runs, he hopes to have his Kantaroo back soon. However, dependency on Tanjiro makes him back up and fight the demon. He uses two swords and manages to cut through the demon's arm. The demon surprisingly runs away, making Inosuke follow him. On the other hand, Tanjiro tries to fight through the sharp threads. Inosuke finds the demon on a tree, but his perception of the demon being scared of him is soon proved wrong when the demon transforms into a stronger version. Inosuke's swords break while trying to fight him, and the demon gets his hands on Inosuke's head. As the demon crushes his head, Inosuke tries to stab his neck, but the demon is unfazed before Inosuke's head is destroyed. Yu appears there saving him. He then destroys the demon in one attack, impressing Inosuke to no end. Tanjiro tries to attack Ryu, but his sword breaks while trying to cut the thread. Inosuke tries to fight Gu since he defeated a blood moon demon. But Gu starts insulting Inosuke pretty brutally by calling him ineligible to be a demon slayer if he can't even tell if a demon is a blood moon one or not. Inosuke tries to defend himself, but Gu ties him upside down to a tree and leaves him as he blabbers. Shinobu helps treat Zenitsu and praises him. He managed to slow down the venom by controlling his breathing, or he would have been a spider by now. Tanjiro wonders how to defeat this demon if his sword couldn't cut through its webs. As he tries to calm down, the webs close down on him, but Nizo comes out of the box defending him. She gets hurt pretty badly, but Ryu is currently focused on the pure sibling bond he just witnessed. It is something that he aimed for. The girl beside him questions if she isn't a satisfactory elder sister to him, which makes him hurt her and tell her to defeat all those humans inside the forest if she wants to remain his sister. As she leaves, Ryu tells Tanjiro that his life will be saved if he hands over Enzo to him so she can be his sister. Yeah, don't expect a demon to go soft and pure. Tanjiro refuses to do so and decides to fight the demon even if he doesn't know how he will succeed. Ryu reveals himself to be the Blood Moon and narrates his delusional life where he had assigned roles to everyone in his pretend family, and his given role to Tanjiro was to hand over Enzo, or he will kill him. Ryu captures Nizo, but when she tries to hurt him, he hangs her in the air with tightened webs that her body starts bleeding. Ryu then starts hurting Tanjiro just by using physical force rather than his webs. When Nizo starts disturbing him with noises, he hurts her throat. Seeing his sister in pain, Tanjiro steps forward, and his strength starts increasing with his anger, making him finally cut through the webs. However, Ryu wasn't unleashing his full strength till now. As he unleashes his blood arts, turning the webs red, Tanjiro starts wondering how to survive through that. A sudden memory has his father telling him to get his breathing under control and become the fire god. The fire dance is something that has been passed down to his family for generations, and his father had told him to make sure that this dance and his earrings are passed down to him for sure. Using that fire dance, Tanjiro starts breaking through the webs and nearing Ryu. However, he isn't paying heed to getting injured himself during the process of protecting Nezo. As Nezo sleeps, her mother tells her in her head to wake up and protect her brother. Her sudden use of blood arts helps Tanjiro by disrupting Ryu's attacks. Using that moment, Tanjiro uses his broken sword to behead Ryu with all his might. Tanjiro falls to the ground along with Nezo. He doesn't have any energy left in him, and he tries to drag himself towards Enzo with blurry vision when he gets the scent of blood in his nose. Ryu gets up and tells Tanjiro that he severed his head before Tanjiro could break the actual threads. He then uses a mesh of web to concentrate on Tanjiro and cut his body to pieces, but Guyu fortunately appears there and saves Tanjiro in time. He praises Tanjiro for holding out till he gets there and then faces the demon. Ryu sends an attack his way, but Guao uses the 11th form of water breathing. Tanjiro is surprised because he only knew that there were 10 forms. This calm form shredded the web threads the moment they neared him. As Ryu gets worked up and tries to throw another attack, Gu disappears. He casually passes by Ryu, beheading him in the process without any effort. The sister is still running, wondering how she potentially messed up in this pretend family game. She recalls the past when she was saved by Ryu from getting killed by demon slayers. He then welcomed her into his pretend family where he took in weak demons and shared his powers with them so they could play house with him and protect him. She even snitched on another demon sister when she was planning to run away and proved her loyalty to Ryu. However, questioning him if they should run when the mother got killed made Ryu mad at her. Wanting to redeem, she captures a demon slayer in her cocoon, and a solvent starts building inside that will turn him to mush soon. Shinobu appears there, scarring this demon. The demon backs up and tries to fight, but soon Shinobu is on top of her. The demon starts apologizing that she was forced to do all this. Shinobu has a creepy smile on as she tells the demon that she will spare her after knowing how many humans she has killed. The demon says 4, but Shinobu saw 14 such cocoons while getting to her. The demon gets worked up asking how it matters, which makes Shinobu tell her that she will be punished accordingly. The punishments being gauging her eyes out, cutting through her stomach, and such heinous acts. The demon throws Shinobu off and backs up to fight her. However, Shinobu easily strikes her at different places with her sword. Noticing her head wasn't cut off, the demon gets confident that Shinobu doesn't have the Nichiron blade. Too bad that Shinobu doesn't need one. She has expertise enough in pharmaceuticals that she managed to make a poison that can kill demons, the wisteria poison. After saving the trapped demon slayer, she wonders if Gu managed to kill the Blood Moon demon. Ryu's human life flashback includes his physical weaknesses that made him an outcast amongst other children. When Kibitsuji offered him physical strength, he accepted it right away. All his childhood, he had been inspired by a story about a father dying while saving his drowning son. This is what a family bond is to him. But after he decides to be a demon, his father tries to kill him while his mother cries silently beside him. This made him kill his parents, but it was only after his mother's last words, an apology for not giving birth to him in good health, that he realized that his parents had said they were going to kill themselves right after that, and they did truly love him. Kibitsuji had told him it was his parents' fault for not accepting him, which Ryu kept in mind to survive. Feeling the scent of grief from Ryu, Tanjiro kept a warm hand on his back as he vanished. Gu doesn't think any demon deserves mercy. Tanjiro agrees to that, but he wants an ease and death for those who regret their actions. Gu looks at Nizo and realizes these are the siblings who met him 2 years ago. Shinobu appears there all of a sudden trying to attack Nizo, but Gu stands there defending the duo. Instead of questioning the matter, Shinobu disses Gilu that nobody likes him, and after a blank moment, Gu replies, "It is not true." Shinobu sweetly apologized that she didn't know he hadn't been told that fact before. This conversation confuses Tanjiro. Getting serious again, Shinobu decides to kill a demon slayer's sibling with ease, but Gu tells him to run with all his might. Even though Tanjiro has only a small amount of energy, he starts running frantically. He heard Shinobu say that protecting a demon is a violation of the demon slayer law, but he has to protect Enzo at any cost. While Shinibu and Gu chase each other, another girl attacks Tanjiro. She is the girl who passed the final selection with him. Tanjiro tells Nizo to not get caught before he is knocked out. Enzo starts running around as the girl chases him and even shrinks herself to a child. The girl is confused about this demon not attacking her back, but decides to focus on killing her nonetheless. As this chaos continues, 2 crows appear, reporting everyone to bring Tanjiro and Enzo alive to the headquarters. The girl, Shinobu, and Guyu all stop and pick up the respective people along with all the injured demon slayers and head toward the headquarters. In the headquarters, Tanjiro is forcefully woken up from his deep slumber as he lies in front of the Hashira. The Hashira are the 9 strongest demon slayers of all time. The Flame Hashira, Rangoku Jiro, Sound Hashira, Yuzui Tenjun, Stone Hashira, Jima Jume, Serpent Hashira, Aguro Oanei, and Wind Hashira, Shinugawa Soni, all want to punish Tanjiro and Nizo right away. Love Hashira, Kenroji. Mitsuri is a softie and just focuses on calling everyone cute and attractive. The Mist Hashira, Takito Muiro, is spaced out with his focus on the sky. The insect Hashira Shinibu wants to focus on Gusu's water Hashira punishment later and asks Tanjiro to explain himself. Tanjiro chokes a little but manages to tell them that Enzo is harmless to humans and can serve as a demon slayer with him to protect the humans. No one is convinced that if Nizo hasn't killed any human yet, she won't do so in the future either. Meanwhile, Wind Hashira brings the box carrying Nezo outside while toying with it. He is crossing a line and acting infuriating, but no one forces him to stop. Tanjiro gets angry when he stabs Nezo inside the box and rushes to attack Wind Hashira. Everyone is shocked when Tanjiro dodges his sword and headbutts him strong enough for him to fall to the ground. The master appears in the meantime and every arrogant Hashira bows down to him. He seems to be sick since the upper part of his face is purple. He decides to free the siblings, and this time most of them speak up against this decision. However, the twin girls as his assistants read the letter from Urokodaki, testifying for Nezo and declaring he, Gu, and Tanjiro will commit suicide if Nezo ever kills a human. Most of them are still not convinced, claiming that won't bring back a life. But Master shuts them up by explaining that there is no guarantee that she will kill a human either, and that none of them can put anything as grave at stake as the 3. Master also shares that Tanjiro has met Kibitsuji, something that neither of them has ever managed to do. All of them start asking questions from Tanjiro, but they are silenced the moment the master puts his finger up to shush them. He then shares that Tanjiro was also attacked by Kibitsuji, meaning it might happen again, opening gates of Kibitsuji for them. He also believes that something's happening with Enzo that Kibitsuji didn't see coming. Wind Hashira Sani is still the most infuriating one who refuses to accept the direct commands of his master. He decides to show the sheer ugliness of the demons to everyone here to prove that Enzo isn't innocent. Cutting his hand, he throws the box on the ground and lets the blood drip inside to prove that Nezo will fall to the temptation and attack him. Taking the box inside, he stabs it multiple times to anger Nezo and then opens the box. Enzo comes out of the box looking infuriated. Being a demon, Enzo is tempted by the sight in front of her, but she seems to be controlling herself at the moment. Everyone is looking at the scenario for their satisfaction, but Tanjiro is constantly trying to free himself so he can talk to Nezo. The serpent Iguro starts pressurizing his elbow on Tanjiro's back to stop him. Shibu tells Tanjiro to not do anything that will cause his veins to burst, but Tanjiro manages to break through the ropes and rush towards Nezo as Gilu holds Oro's arm. Tanjiro doesn't go inside, but just calls her name. Enzo recalls Tanjiro's confrontation with Gu, claiming Nezo is not bad. Enzo also recalls her family and Urokodaki's words that all humans are her family. Everyone is shocked when Nezo turns her face away from blood in disgust. After knowing what happened, Master confronts Tanjiro, telling him to prove himself from now on by defeating one of the 12 blood moons. Tanjirou feels content with Master's soothing voice and exclaims that he will defeat Muse and Kibitsuji. The Master awkwardly smiles, telling him to focus on defeating one of the blood moons first because he isn't strong enough to defeat Kibitsuji yet. This embarrasses him, and the Hashira starts laughing at him. The two of them are then taken to Shibaru's house, but not before Tanjirou tries to come back and hurt Sony for stabbing his sister. He is dragged away by the helpers who scold him for getting them. Scolded by the intimidating Hashiras, the helpers look around the mansion and finds Suiri Kano, the girl who knocked him out in the forest. She is at Tsugo, someone who is trained by a Hashira. The helpers ask her permission to take them in, but the girl stands there while creepily smiling. Another girl appears and takes them inside, where Zenitsu is currently crying that he has to take medicine for 3 months. Seeing Tanjirou, he starts crying and sniffling while telling the story, due to which he currently has smaller limbs. Now, Inosuke is also lying on the side, but his voice has been strained due to his injuries. Inosuke is currently lying depressed for not being able to kill any demon in the forest. He finds himself incapable no matter how much Tanjirou and Zenitsu praise him. Not to forget, all this conversation is happening while Zenitsu's never-ending snot connects from his nose to a helper's abdomen. Enzo is given a room so she can come out of the box. As Tanjirou talks to her, she passes out yet again due to being sleep-deprived. He promises her yet again to transform her back into a human before he dies. In the meeting with Hashira, it is discussed how the threat to humans has increased. Sony thinks increasing the ranks of demon slayers is not of use. Seeing the incident on Mount Nadagumo, the Hashira talk about not being able to force humans to become demon slayers and how Tanjirou might have the potential to act good enough as well as draw blood moons, something they aren't normally able to see. Master, however, mentions that the waning blood moon taking such drastic actions means Kibitsuji was not nearby, because whenever Kibitsuji wants to hide something, he creates a diversion for them. Master is still proud of the team he has gathered in the 9 Hashira. Zenitsu keeps crying about taking medicine, so much so that he is coldly threatened that his arms and legs won't grow back to normal otherwise. Murata also visits them and shares how he barely got saved. He then starts shaking upon remembering that he had to report the incident to the Hashira and face their anger for not performing well. Poor guy gets the presence of Shinobu. As he is doing so, Virata runs off. So Shinobu confronts Tanjirou and Inosuke, who are considerably better than Zenitsu, and takes them to rehabilitation training. Meanwhile, Zenitsu thinks about Shinobu, how cute she is, and how blessed the two must be feeling once they get back. However, the two of them look traumatized upon getting back and sleep while hiding their faces. The next day, Zenitsu shivers while going for training. AI decides to narrate the training protocol once again for Zenitsu. 3 tiny girls are first to make their bodies limber again by stretching them. Next is the reflex training, where the cups with medication water need to be splashed across opponents' faces before they stop your hand. Third is the full body training, where AI and Kenna will be playing a game of tag against them. The two of them have been crying over the stretching and over losing against the girls. Zenitsu gets up and drags them out for a moment. He then starts shouting at the two for being ungrateful, as they are sad that women are stretching their bodies, touching hands, and touching their entire bodies in the 3 trainings respectively. Inosuke wasn't wrong when he called Zenitsu creepy, as he seemed to be in heaven when doing the 3 activities. He won against Ai, and even Inosuke won against Ai, but Tanero's reflexes seemed to be weaker, but none of them was able to win even once against Kanao. The embarrassment was so heavy that Inosuke and Zenitsu refused to come to training again. As for Tanjirou, he kept coming and losing again and again. On a random night, the 3 exercise girlies helped Tanjirou by telling him that total concentration breathing can be mastered to be adapted at all times. Tanjirou decides to train for it and keeps working hard so that the girls help him by giving him more trips from what they saw in Kano's training. One night, Tanjirou was meditating at night as part of training when Shinobu visited him. She is impressed by his kindness and that he means to train his friends as well once he is done. She expresses her happiness that he is living her dream of befriending demons. Tanjiro senses an angry scent and confronts her. Shinobu finally loses her smile as she shares how her elder sister always pied demons, and even when she was killed by them, she told Shinobu to keep smiling and living her dream, something Shinobu feels tired of. This is why she is happy that Tanjiro is doing something her sister always dreamt of, pitying the demons, befriending one, and finding a cure for them. Wishing him success, she leaves him to train. Tanjiro asks the 3 girls to help him practice his total concentration breathing as he sleeps by beating him up if he fails. Tanjiro starts getting closer to catching Kano with every passing day. Seeing him train so hard gets the other 2 guys embarrassed enough to ask Shinobu about his training. Shinobu explains to them what Tanjiro is doing and asks them to try it themselves. but they fall huffing immediately. Shinobu knows how to get them hyped up. She calls it a child's play in front of Inosuke, so he gets hyped to learn it too. Meanwhile, all it takes for Zenitsu is for Shinobu to hold his hand and say encouraging words to him. The two of them start training hard with Tanjiro. Kano is also asked to go train with them. She walks towards the well and flips a coin while observing them train over the other end. Kansui was a poor little girl with an abusive father. She was bullied to the extent that all emotions were drained out of her so much that she didn't even bat an eye when she was sold. Lucky for her, Shinobu and her elder sister Kani found her, throwing money at the guy. They took a run with Kano, who was even named by these sisters. Shinobu had considered her a lost cause initially, but Kani believed in her. She gave Kano a coin, telling her to flip any confusing matter over it. She also believed that Kano's soul would open up when she fell in love. Looking at the coin and then Toniro, Kano leaves the place. Later, Toniro receives the news of their new swords arriving soon. The two happily receive Hagenzuka and his companion, but Toniro is attacked by Hagenzuka for breaking his sword. Tanjiro tries to reason his near death, but it is his fault for being so weak, not Hagenzuka's concern. The other guy, Kanamori, is the one who forged Inosuke's swords. He is acting calm, but all that vanishes when Inosuke takes a stone and breaks the blade to create edges. He then hopes to take down the strongest demons so he can send blood samples to Tamo and convert Nezo back to humans. Hearing Nezo mumble, she believes in him gives him a newfound motivation to work harder. Kano and Toniro keep on training every day to the extent that their winning streaks are at a draw. A few months ago, the demons were summoned by Kibitsuji at their headquarters. Not just any demons, but the waning 6 out of the 12 blood moons. Kibitsuji was disappointed at the weakness of the waning 6, as they've been replaced multiple times while the waxing 6 have been the same over centuries. Kibitsuji killed the demons one by one, whether it was because a demon interrupted him, felt scared of the demon slayers, or didn't agree with Kibitsuji in their minds. The last demon left, laughed at the murder of the others, and announced his gratitude to Kibitsuji for letting him enjoy the death of others and killing him by his own hands. Impressed by the words, Kibitsuji gave him a good amount of his blood, telling him to kill the Hashira. And the guy with Haniputa-like earrings, Toniro, if he managed to survive the extensive amount of blood given to him. The demon could feel the rush of pain and felt excited to have his dream come true. The crow came to Toniro, and the two asked them to head towards the infinite train with Rangoku, as the casualties were increasing there. This was suggested by Shinobu, who is heavily impressed that Toniro outshined the good expectations she had from him, and his goal to kill Kibitsuji is very clear. Master agrees to Shinobu's thoughts and responds positively when she calls Kibitsuji Tanjiro's destiny, since he learned fire breathing and fire god dancing from his father, something that being close to Rangoku will help Toniro with. Toniro happily thanks Ai for helping him through his training. He then rushes to Kano and thanks her. Kano smiles at him for a moment before bringing out the coin and flipping it. After that, Toniro hears Kano talking to him for the first time. Even though Kano keeps repeating farewells after her statement, Toniro gets excited and sits down asking about the coin. Surprisingly, Kano starts talking normally as she tells him she flips a coin to make any decision she isn't ordered to make. Toniro asks her to follow her heart, and then decides to flip the coin about it. Luckily, the coin favors Toniro's statement. Kano asks how he did that. Toniro sweetly replies that it was a chance, and he would have repeated the tossing till the decision was in his favor. This deeply moves Kano as Toniro leaves. As the three reach the station, the two country bumpkins don't even know what a train is. Inosuke is about to attack it while Toniro calls it a good spirit. This puts poor Zenitsu in a tough sport, as Inosuke's commotion gets the attention of the police to some guys carrying swords. Being part of an unrecognized organization, the three have to hide and jump on the train at the last moment. Zenitsu worries about Nizo's safety, but Toniro's confidence that they'll stay together calms him too. That concludes the anime recap. As always, if you enjoyed, let me know down below.